I was wrong. I'm always wrong. Fair enough. Episode 57. Ready to do this?
Yeah, let's do it. Kick it off. Here's 2-4. Coming on.
Let's go.
Mid-Geek Crisis.
Whoop, whoop! Episode 57, almost to the end of the year.
No, totally. Very exciting.
Look at that. I like when we round a whole circle. Like we did this last year. We were here. Like at this moment, we had an episode around this time of year.
We have survived another year. The assassins failed to kill us. Circumstances failed to take us down. Very exciting.
How was your week?
It's not over. I mean, it just keeps going, right?
Well, since last time, right?
Yeah. It's great. Biggest disappointment of the week is Wander Song. R and I were at the last phase of it, and I guess on the Xbox One it has a game-breaking glitch right at the last song. So I went on Twitter. Apparently, you can go watch the same video we had, and I had the joy of explaining to my poor daughter of 6 years old that what a glitch was and how you can't get past them. And even if you can move on the screen, that doesn't mean that, the game is continuing. So the audio was on repeat and nothing was interacting. It was pretty sad. So now every day did they fix it yet? Did they fix it? I'm like, kiddo, like they'll fix it when they fix it, but then they have to upload it to Xbox and Microsoft have to approve it. And then the patch has to there's all these steps.
You don't need to explain all that. She's instant consumption child. Like that's the way the world works in their eyes.
If there's one thing we all need to teach our children is patience, dude.
Oh no, sure. I agree. And it's very hard in this ever world, but she's not wrong. She's like, why isn't it fixed?
Oh no, I know. She's like, what is this? What's going on? Download a new one. I think is what she said. Download a new version. Like,
Rose, welcome to the show. It's a sad day when we
friend
learn
of the show.
Yeah. You know what?
It's even sadder when as a dad you need to explain it to your poor child, right? You got to be like, hey, kiddo, sorry. So we played a little bit of Overcooked 2, which is fun.
What sucks is I guarantee you those programmers already have the fix and they've already pushed it, but now they got to wait through the red tape of like Microsoft Upload, the price, sometimes pushing patches out costs money.
And it's on Xbox. The weird thing it's on Xbox Pass, so you'd think Xbox would have a vested interest in ensuring.
I'm sure they do. I'm sure there's some sort of like, hey, we'll give you this amount of patches or whatever to keep things going, that sort of thing. So
it's great. So yeah, but that's pretty much what my weekend was. And I've been watching The Expanse. Well, actually, we finished The Expanse. Great.
The new season already? Like the new part?
Thank you, Amazon. Yeah, we watched it all.
So I've heard good things.
So good.
So is it good? What would you describe it as sci-fi wise? Like if like it's not Star Trek, is it like if you were to like give me like a little bit of Star Trek, a little bit of Event Horizon, a little bit of
oh my gosh. Yeah, I guess it it's hard to
Isn't that what it kind of is? It's like they're going way out to like a part of space.
So it's a little bit of politics, a little bit of that sort of like, it's a little bit of like Earth versus Mars kind of colonial stuff with Belters. So it's got a little bit of politics going on. So it sort of followed stories across the 3 different cultures. And then it's got a little bit of Firefly, right? So there's like a guy who runs his own ship and has to survive in a world where people are fighting each other. And a whole lot of science fiction. I mean, like it's great. It's great. I mean, like you hate the main character. I don't like Holden at all, but I do like all of the periphery characters. I love the Belters. Are
you supposed to not like the main character?
I don't want to be controversial, but he's like your Kevin Costner, like your typical white guy saving everybody. What I do like about him is that he fails so miserably every time. Like he thinks he's doing the right thing and he just keeps making things worse.
Rick.
Which is pretty much his like
Walking Dead, Rick.
Yeah, it's exactly right, which is pretty much his thing. But the ships are cool, the special effects are cool, the Belters are cool. They're like the forgotten minorities because Mars and Earth are rich and the Belters provide all the raw materials and blah 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 blah. So there's some great politics, and then it's got an alien presence in it, and without spoilers, right? The alien presence is it's indecipherable, right? Like a human being, it's so far advanced that human beings, like they keep poking at it and it keeps making things worse for them, right? But they think they understand it because they're humans, and this alien being is way too out of their league. I think is the best way to put it. So it's just 4 seasons of them dealing with every smart move they make that just turns out to make the situation worse. It's pretty much the best way to put it. It's really good science fiction. Yeah, it's great. I like it better than the books. I read the first 3 books. I stopped probably 2 chapters into the 4th book, and I'm loving the series. So check
Well,
it
that's
out.
good. I mean, 4 seasons, that means something I should pick up and watch.
They're even doing 5th. They're already filming the 5th. So you
Awesome.
You got another season coming. Yep.
Awesome. What did my kids do?
How about you? Or you, Rolls? Let us know what you're playing. In the chat.
What's everyone doing? Let's see. This weekend was Santa's workshop. I'm working on gifts, packing, doing all the wonderful stuff.
There you go. Yeah. So
I'm not sure you're meant to hate Holden in the show. Really?
No, because he's like the central main character. I mean, he's
so Saren, would you say that maybe he's a character that relates to a certain type of person, and then like maybe I mean, like you said, like Pedro said, typical white guy, like hero, like maybe does he not go well with a person of color, like someone like the brown guy, maybe grown up, like how does it work out?
Like he's the Earther who's helping the Belters, right? Like he left his planet to go live with other people, and now he's part of those other people. But he's not. He's also like wants to save all of humanity. He's such a boring character. That's why I don't like him. Maybe people love that character. He's new. You know what it is? He might be new to other people, to people who are new to science fiction. But for me, I've read that character a million times. Wrapping up GoldenEye. Turek, too. What is Rose? Is Rose talking to us from 19?
He's talking my language. I'm gonna go with him. Yeah, I would. He's supposed to read as flawed human who tries. So kind of tropey.
Yeah, tropey.
Definitely tropey.
Pokemon
So let's see.
Sword.
Rolls, what are you up to? You said wrapping up GoldenEye. Picking up Turok 2 over the. Oh, so you're picking up I'm guessing the Switch version, right? The new remaster on the Switch, which got good reviews. It's looking good. Currently caught up on the Sopranos. Wow. Well, yeah, I guess he is
caught up. What?
What year is it, Rolls?
It's like 64 version. This guy's a retro gamer.
That's
gamer.
Great.
He's a man after your own heart. That's good stuff.
No, 64. So he's actually playing the 64 version. Well, I mean, if you've got a Switch, pick up the remaster. It's pretty good. A lot of quality of life fixes. Looks great. Doesn't look so out of place that it doesn't look like it's on an N64. It still gives you that. Yeah, it still gives you
I'm
that
gonna say right now. I don't even know if this is a hot take, right? GoldenEye, best multiplayer couch play game ever.
Oh yeah,
ever.
Look at that. Look at that, Sakurai. Playing Pokemon Sword to clock in 210 hours. Jesus, do you remember ever clocking that much? Well, I mean, I know you. How many days you have in Civ 6 right now?
I'm like, those are rookie numbers. Get those numbers up.
Get those numbers up. Coffee is for closers.
Well, 210 hours is what, 10 days? How long has Pokemon Sword been out? About 3 weeks? 4 weeks?
Yeah.
10 days is really good. Well done, Sakura, please.
Yeah.
We won't talk about the Civ 6 habit. We won't.
We got to bring it up. It's the only thing I can really review at, Man, let's see. I'm working on stuff. My kiddos discovered Mario Party. They've been playing Mario Party. They've been playing the Wii version, Mario Party 9. I guess one that wasn't very popular, but they like it, and they've been like
great.
What I remember about that version of the game is it was some co-op mode. So like brothers have been teaming up to fight against Bowser in like board games.
Yes.
So they've been loving it.
1.2k hours of Pokemon. So there we go. That's a life well spent, right? We'll all look back on those 2,000 hours, 6,000 hours. 8,
yeah, GoldenEye is the grand. Well, I'm gonna of console of multiplayer. Absolute couch multiplayer is great. I'll never forget the epic match. Oh no, absolutely not. Oddjob was not cheating.
He was cheap, but not cheating. But not cheating.
Why would you say something so controversial?
Also, not cheating. Looking at the other player's screen. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna throw it out there. Not cheating.
Talking about that's a good segue to kind of start unrolling and what we're gonna do, because this episode we are going to be talking about. I sent a message to Pedro that we needed to do this because we might skip a week, maybe in a week or so. It might be too tiring. But I figured we'd kind of get this out of the way just right on the Christmas holidays and whatnot. it's the end of a decade, right? It's 2019. We're going into
That's
2020, which means that next year will be the games that start the new decade, the 2020 games, the new and since
The
2010 to 2019, we've had a lot of game tropes, things that have like happened that were like very 2010s, and man, like we've gone to like multiplayer, free to play, loot box, just mass multiplayer shooting games. The trope that is the 2010s, games like Destiny, MMOs, that sort of thing, Fortnite, PUBG, that sort of thing. And we decided we need to come up with our own list, the list that we, as I guess from my age, I would be games I started playing it when I was 28 to now 38.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So
I didn't want to age myself. Oh.
Yeah. So I mean, games that you played when you were like,
10,032, give or take.
when you were like 61 to 72, right? Right? Yeah. Is that what we're
Only
doing?
in spirit.
Only in spirit.
It was harder than I thought. It was hard to remember what games actually came out in the last 10 years, right?
Yeah, I had to
games
look some up.
like...
I really had to look some up and go, did this count? Did this not count? That sort of thing. And sure enough, man, like I nailed it when I got one of the games that I put right on the list right at the very beginning. I was like, this one. I'm like, that had to have been it because it was right around the time my kiddo was born. And I have to think about it in a very weird window because 2010 was when my first kid was born. AKA, it was the beginning of like fatherhood for me. So February.
Steve is 10 years old. Jesus
yeah.
Christ.
So February 2010 was when my kiddo was born, but my kiddo was also in the NICU from February to June. So 4+ months of being in the hospital meant that I would go to the hospital every day to go see my kiddo, and then when I'd come home, I would have to do something because I was like
sure
like, and I remember picking up certain games, and I'm gonna start it off, and then I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back and forth on this.
Okay.
I'll name my first game on my list, and then you go from there. They're not in any major order. I don't want to say that they're chronological. I might state one that's in and out of chronological order, but this one was definitely 2010, and the game that started the decade was Mario Galaxy 2.
There's going to be a lot of Nintendo games on your list, isn't there?
Some, not as many as I thought, actually. As a matter of fact, I'm looking at my list here, and that will be that'll be one of three out of a 10 list.
Fair enough.
But Mario Galaxy 2, man, like when that came out, I remember playing Mario Galaxy 1, and I remember kind of like being blown away by it. And when I'd heard the rumors that 2 was coming out, I was really excited. I had pre-ordered my copy, obviously, before my kiddo was even born. And I remember when it came out, my kiddo was obviously in the hospital. I went to go see him, and then I got a notification from my game store. It wasn't. It was what was the one? There used to be one that was attached to a Hollywood Video back in the day, like Game Freak or something like that. And yeah, it was. Anywho, they sent me a message.
10 years ago was a long time.
Yeah. They sent me a message that was like, hey, my copy was ready to pick up. And so I remember like going after and picking it up. And then I got a little commemorative coin with it. And I was like, ooh, cool. And I think I still have it. And I came home and I played it. And what really was great was that version of the game, like Mario Galaxy 2, had a 2-player mode. So Courtney, we'd both get home and we'd sit down on the couch. And this was in our apartment. And, heavy day of going to see the kiddo and whatnot, we sit down and play this game, and it had the 2-player mode was, I think it was co-opted in the media as girlfriend mode, which
was it like the star?
Yeah, so the other person would grab the controller and move the cursor and pick up the star bits in it, and so like, or they could hold down enemies with their Wii remote, so they could like lock them by holding them down, and so like I could run. So we fired through that game in a month or two. Of game time. And so that one holds a special place in my heart because I remember playing it when my kiddo was born. And at the same time, it was they came out in May of 2010. And so, yeah, that's definitely my first pick. So that's where I'm starting.
So here's where our fans of the show should know how different Joe and I are when we pick on this. So Joe picked a heartfelt memory game. He thought with this like emotions deep in his like beautiful nougat center. I, however, and can you put this up for me?
Absolutely.
I, however, say, get good. That's what I say. So I'm gonna go in number order because that's the way I think. Number 10, Dark Souls, right? 2011, I think it came out. I'm pretty sure it came out 2011.
Yep.
And,
Yes, it did.
and it changed the field, right? I gotta acknowledge that it changed the field.
Right on the head, and we're going to talk about it at the end of this.
It changed the field. Now there used to be games that were different types. Now there is there used to be a Mario Brothers clones and things like that. There was Metroid clones. Now there are Dark Souls clones, and then there are Dark Soul roguelike clones, and then Dark Souls changed.
You can't even release a game nowadays without saying it is a Dark Soul-like game. I mean,
even the new Star Wars.
New Star Wars game. It is Dark Souls with lightsabers, or Dark Souls with in futuristic, or you name it, it's Dark Souls like. And people get angry when they use that, but you know what? That is one of our defining genres that we created in the 2010s.
It's also, interestingly to me, it's also the game that I sort of create as my line, in which I realize that I don't have the time to invest in games anymore. Dark Souls would have been a game I got really good at and played the hell out of and obsess over. Devil May Cry 1, Tenchu, not Tenchu, that Ninja Gaiden. All those hard games were ones that I invested hours and achievements in doing those games. And then Xenoblade Chronicles was actually a really good game, Sakura, please. Dark Souls, I couldn't do it. I started playing and I was like, you know what? I don't have the time to get good. I literally don't have the time to memorize all of these different fight patterns and anything anymore. I was in my 30s. I was career oriented. I was doing what I wanted to do and blah blah blah. So Dark Souls, number 10 game of the decade for me.
All right. So let me go to my next one. My next one was interesting because it came out the next year, and it was another sequel, again a number 2, but it also redefined things, and that to me was Portal 2.
Portal 2, great game.
Portal 1 became one of my first, I want to call almost speedrunny games. Mm-hmm. I got to the point where I could load up Portal 1 and run through it in 10 minutes. And now it's you could game break it in 2.
That's very good, yeah.
But I could literally go from first level to last, is just run through it. And the quirk, the dialogue, the villain in Portal 1 was so good that when Portal 2 came out, I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, what happened? Because if you remember the ending of Portal 1, you were you exited, but then you were you didn't.
Sure.
And then you got caught. And then they take you back.
Spoilers. Wait a minute.
2011. Oh my God. 9 years. So I remember playing that, and the single player, the story, the quotes, you had J.K. Simmons as life gives you lemons, make a bomb, make grenades, it's just all these, you make lemon grenades.
Weirdly ahead of its time.
Mechanics, different, just weird first person storytelling in a very puzzle centric. Mm-hmm. What the style that was Portal kind of created a whole genre of puzzle games, first person puzzle games. Portal
was the game that made me realize that I never want to play another first-person puzzle game ever again.
It definitely was it would mess with your head, the spinning, the movement,
the jumping, the nonsense.
Once you got good, you were good, and you could fly through it. The puzzle aspect always felt so satisfying that you could just jump through a portal, fly, shoot one down, immediately turn around, shoot another one, let it fling you across, let it catch you, just all of the movements.
It was really, really smartly designed too, as I recall.
So good. So Portal 2 is definitely my next pick.
Your next pick.
I guess number 9 would be what's your number 9?
My number 9, throw it up here for me, is and I'm pretty sure I'm not cheating because I actually picked up a Game of the Year edition, Red Dead Redemption Part 1. 2010 is when it first came out, so I'm right on the edge, right?
Grand Theft Auto Part 1.
Yeah, it's funny. I actually dismissed this game when it first came out. It's just, Grand Theft Cowboys. Who cares, right?
Right.
And I picked up a Game of the Year edition, or actually, my wife bought me the Game of the Year edition, and I loved it. It was a perfect Western delivered in a perfect way. It had everything I wanted in the game at just the right pace and rate. It was just the right difficulty level, and it's just so good. And the DLCs afterwards, the zombie DLC was a great time. The Even the online stuff was all right, even though I got killed a little too fast a lot of times in the online stuff. That was when Rockstar Games was really experimenting with their online play pre Grand Theft Auto 5, which didn't make the list. This is my one Rockstar game on my list. I loved it. I think this is one of the greatest stories ever told in a great spirit of westerns, and I still think about the ending for this game. If you've never played Red Dead Redemption, it ends. And then you play out the rest of the story, but then there's a quest you can pick up later that actually gives you that perfect Western ending in an amazing way. And it's just, one of my favorite games of the last 10 years. I can't, it was hard to pick this one because I was like, should I pick 2? But 2 just let me down so big time that it made me want to play 1 again.
So on part 1, there was no multiplayer, right? It
had multiplayer, as I recall. Part 1 had multiplayer.
It did have multiplayer?
Yeah, it wasn't very good, but it had multiplayer.
I remember also one of the big things about this game is it was also one of the first Rockstar games, which you've talked about it before, that had no PC version.
Oh, really? That I did not know.
Yeah, it had no PC version. The best way to play this game is still you have to have the Xbox version, the console version.
One I recommend, and you can get it for like $10 nowadays, and pretty good if you get in a bargain bin box.
Yeah. So my next pick here is going to be, and I'm going to put it right up here.
There you go. Good choice.
Tomb Raider, the 2013 one. This one was a weird one, man. Like, I wanted to dismiss this game. I was like, this is post Uncharted, right? So it's a controversial pick because the Uncharted games had come out. Uncharted had outdone Lara.
Yeah.
They had kind of done what Laura was supposed to be doing, but instead we lost Laura to other games, to weirdness, to like more action, the just a weird style game where Uncharted came in and kind of took the mantle that was the Tomb Raider game.
Yep.
This game came out in 2013 to a reboot, like whole new Laura, whole new actress, new look, no exaggerated features. Just very more a fragile Laura, a protect my Laura. Do you remember that junk? It was weird, but the gameplay was good. It gave you that same Uncharted feel. It was one of the games that I sat down and again, single player, story driven.
Set it to hard mode right away.
Hard mode right away. Upgrade the arrows, get through it, get good stealthy. It scratched that stealth itch. It scratched that upgrade, that skill tree itch. Just did lots good for that genre, and obviously it sold well. We ended up getting a definitive edition when the new consoles came out,
and 2 more games,
and 2 more games, and they're great games. So that's
my list of games to play when I've got time to like devote to them because I played the hell out of Tomb Raider. I fully chivoed it except for the multiplayer chivos because of course by the time I played it there was no multiplayers. It was really disappointing to have multiplayer on there because it made no sense. But yeah, on there anyway. Right, that was back when every game had to have multiplayer.
Yeah.
Curry, please. I do like turn-based PvP, but there is a little sometimes. I did enjoy some Destiny at PvP, some Division PvP. But yeah, have you played Wargroove? Give Wargroove a try if you like Fire Emblem and turn-based.
Wargroove on Xbox. It's on Game Pass, right?
It's on Game Pass right now. It's even on Switch. Fantastic, fun game.
Yeah, pick that up. I've heard good things. Absolutely. What's your next pick?
Oh gosh, let's throw it up there. My next pick. This one. When it came out, got a lot of kudos. FTL. I don't know. I hope that's big enough for everybody. But this one, fantastic little real-time strategy game. What I want to talk about specifically is the iPad implementation for this game. It was probably the first game on the iPad that I spent $12 on or $10 on. I don't remember the exact price, but it was way higher than apps at the time. And it was 100% worth it. This game, just spectacular in its design, smooth, easy to pick up. The difficulty level scaled at the right level. And as you got deeper and deeper into space, the risk-reward scenario started getting crazier. I still play it today. Like it's one of the few things I haven't deleted off of my old iPad. I still play it today. It's so good, and it's fast. You get a game done in like 2 days. Great game. Faster than light at number 8 for me of the decade, and that came out in 2011. A lot of good games came out in the earlies for me.
Okay.
You didn't know? Did you play? Have you played this? It's great. Fast and light.
I have.
Hey, Curry, please. If you like strategy games, FTL. I know it's 8 years old, Grandpa.
Isn't it? Don't they have Fast FTL? Don't they have packs like tournaments of FTL or no?
Oh my gosh, they have Into the Breach, maybe, because that's his new one. Into the Breach is great.
Right, Into the Breach is his new one.
Into the Breach is really good.
All right, so my pick, and probably this game, I guarantee you is on your list as well. So what number it's at on yours is like I said, mine isn't really in a good order. It's more almost chronological, almost. And this game consumed me. Consumed me.
Oh, I have a guess.
That is.
Yeah.
Borderlands.
You know what? Spoilers, not on my list.
It's not on your list.
Not on my list.
It's one on your list. Did one come out in 2010? No,
one came out before that. Borderlands 2 was what, 13? When did Borderlands 2 come out?
13.
Yeah. It was really tough, but I had to give a different game that slot.
I couldn't. Borderlands to me means a lot because it brought me back to the first person shooter in a way that no game did in a long time. What I mean by that is Borderlands 2 came out right around the end of, or maybe the middle, the popularity of the Call of Duty, the Battlefield, the coming in and like prestige. What's your prestige? What's your prestige? Prestige wins. What's your, what rank are you? What rank are you? What's your death kill ratio? All that nonsense. The beginning of the like season pass mumbo jumbo, like buy your game, get the season pass, get the exclusive maps, get the exclusive skin kind of thing. Pre-order at GameStop and. Borderlands, after I played, because you turned me to Borderlands 1.
I did.
And one of those games that you were like, oh, we're playing this Borderlands game. You check it out. I'm like, I heard about it, but is that kind of like, what was the other game that was kind of like set in that like post-apocalyptic Rage? I was like,
oh yeah, Rage.
Rage or kind of like, he's like, no, it's a little different, whatever. And I'm like,
it's Funny Mad Max.
It's like Funny Mad Max. I remember like,
Funny Mad Max.
You could buy the game of the year and it comes with all the expansions and whatnot. I was like, all right. So I picked up part 1 and just like consumed it.
I remember.
And then as soon as part 2 came out, I was like, I need this.
We got to play it at PAX East in 2013, right? So that was
also another special feeling. It's like we were at PAX and when they announced it and they had the big statues and we stood in line and we played it.
And we got the line cut by our friend Bonji, who just ruined our, like he just cut the line on us because he's a bastard. Also, maybe
it was a great year. It was 2020.
I think I still have the shirt somewhere that I got.
Yeah. It's a memorable game. The amount of content that we got. Yes, it was also a game that you purchased a season pass, but there was no multi-season pass. You didn't have to pay them more and more and more money.
No.
It was like, here's the set amount. Here's what the game pass is going to cost, and you're going to get all of this. And this game just kept giving. The amount of
now I kind of wish I had this on my list. It really is a great, solid game.
And we have to think about it that this Borderlands 3 came out this year, and I'm not done with it, and I'm going to consume it into 2020. And there's already the first DLC coming out soon.
Yep.
But this is a game that was so good. I bought it on everything it came out on.
You're a beast, though. You're a beast.
I bought it on. I have it on Vita. I have it on Mac. I have it on PC 360. I bought it on PS4. I've bought it multiple times on multiple consoles because of multiple releases, and I haven't regretted it once. And what's also fantastic is this game came out again 2012, and we got a final DLC for free right before Borderlands 3 came out.
I mean, it's a genius marketing campaign, but yeah.
It's so good. Like the voice acting, the comedy, just I can't emphasize how amazing this game is.
Spectacular.
So it's 2012 to 2019. That game could still be played. It was on everything. It runs on anything. And you got that much content out of it that they were still able to drop a final DLC this year. Go check it out if you don't have it. Yeah. Who doesn't own it?
Who doesn't own it?
You can practically go anywhere and they'll give you a copy.
It's true. It's true. It comes free when you walk into a game store. Yeah, that's a good number 7, man. My number 7, I'm 95% sure is going to show up on your list. Put it on there.
I can already tell what it is. You know what? I'm going to make a banner for it. I know what it is.
Yeah, you know what it is.
I know what it is. and it is
Yeah.
Cuphead. Oh my God, this game. So like, I don't know what it means to you, but I remember seeing it at PAX East
Yeah.
years
I
ago.
remember you brought me over.
Yeah.
To look at it. I was like, this game is beautiful, hand drawn. What the heck is going on?
Yeah, and this was again years before it came out because these developers were like a little development group, and they weren't attached to Xbox. They weren't attached to anything when we saw them. I still have some of the swag that I got, some of like the cards, these like little trader cards. They're still in my PAX box that I've got, and the amount of love that you could see from the developers. I mean, them talking to you, them saying, yeah, it's all hand drawn or whatever. And I was like, when is this game coming out? And then another year at PAX would come out and we're like, where's this game? And another year at PAX, where is this game?
And then it came out in 2017. It finally dropped September 2017.
Like 3 years after we had seen it at PAX.
It delivered, dude. It delivered. I mean, this is a pause of the game, right? You're looking at a pause of the game, kind of crappy shot because it's filtering through everything. But I mean, each individual image here is hand drawn. It is gorgeous. Every match, every level of it is super challenging. It's rare that I'll play a game and feel that satisfaction of having finally beat it. You know, look at this. Look at. I mean, does it show the animation? Look at this beautiful.
Oh yeah, yeah. All of that. I mean, what's
the
fantastic about this game is, to me, it looks like you're playing a cartoon, and
it's gorgeous. And the music, the music is killer. It's a game that my wife enjoyed watching me play, and would make fun of me behind me as I died over and over again. It's been a while since I played a game and had to put it down. I would rage so hard at some of the bullet hell moments, you know. Just great. I mean, I'll be honest, I haven't beaten it yet because my heart couldn't take it anymore when I had to. I couldn't take it anymore with the intense pain. But I can appreciate the beauty.
So that's my next pick too. So
there you go.
What's great about this game is I bought it, of course, day one because I had to. The game was 1999, day one it came out. Bought it on Xbox digitally, and you could just log in and play it on PC because they gave you free. I mean, again, revolutionary. One of the first games that gave you that Xbox Anywhere kind of thing. But what's also amazing is that it's kind of the new thing with kids is these games have these mascots that kids are clinging onto.
Yeah.
So my kids love Cuphead and Mugman. Like,
of course,
they've got the stuffed guys. When they take pictures together, they go Cuphead pose, and they'll do like the very Mugman. They'll hold each other like Mugman and Cuphead do in the promotional pictures. Or I'll come into their room and they're jamming out to the soundtrack.
Because it's a great soundtrack.
It's a great soundtrack, and I'm like, he loves he's listening to Barbershop, and I'm like, are you listening to Barbershop? And I'm like, oh, it's the Cuphead soundtrack. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So, yeah, he loves it. He loves it. So yeah, again, and that game is also another game that is getting DLC, but the DLC was announced over a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago now, and it's still not out because they're hand drawing it. Like, again, it's not something they could just dump one or two sprites in and then make a game and generate it.
And everything. No, they're drawing everything. It's beautiful.
So check it out. Chalice, the female, is going to be a playable character in it. So I'm excited for that. You should hear about it. We'll probably see it at PAX.
Yeah, so that's my that was my number 7. Your number 6. Very nice.
6. Yeah. So what's your number 6?
Oh, well, you can throw it up there. Number 6 is Telltale Games Walking Dead. Now,
oh man.
I mean, I want to highlight the first one because the first one I played it through. You know, it took 5 months for these episodes to come out. It was an episodic game, kind of unheard of back in 2012? Back in 2012, kind of unheard of experience. And it delivered the sort of $6 snippets. You know, think about this time period, 2012. Imagine not having a game like this, right? It's just Telltale Games had this meteoric rise and fall. I was heartbroken at the end of this first one. I had to actually pause the game at the last point and take a moment to think about the choice I was going to make because it was so hard for Clementine. And then, eventually this spawned an entire empire and a bunch of fantastic games I'm sad the company had to close its doors, but I will always think of this game, number 6, one of the game of the decades for me.
Man, that game is it's a tough play. Like it's another game. This is. I don't want to say this wasn't the first ones, but it's definitely one of those first few games that kind of like pulled at the heartstrings, especially again as we're getting older. 2010, I became a father. You became a father. Later on, and so you got to play these games, and there's very like adult moments that. I'm not saying people can't relate to them, but once you have a kiddo, you're like, ugh.
You can relate.
I'm just saying. You know what I mean?
You were a big mush ball before. You're a big mush ball now.
Yeah. So here's my number 5. My number 5 pick, and it's a big one to me. I loved it. And again, this is also one of those games that I've purchased on everything it's come out on, and that is Guacamelee. First one. Not part 2. Now, mind you, part 2 is fantastic too, and I bought it and I own it. And I got
that one's got a great cosplay.
But Guacamelee. This is again, this is Super Turbo Championship Edition, picture. But the first one, when it first came out, was exclusive to PlayStation. But again, the story for this one for me was that again, another game I played in 2012, 2013 at PAX.
Yep.
And
another one you brought me over. This is where we sort of figured out that the real show at PAX is the indie floor, the indie portion of the floor. Who cares about the big box games? Check out 1 or 2 of those, wait on the lines. But checking out these indie games is where it's at all day long.
Yeah, so we went and we saw these devs, and there was drink box games. They had a little booth, and they had just half of it was set up for Guacamelee, and they had 2 TVs, and they had 2 wired Xbox PC controllers, right? And so it wasn't running on a console yet, and they just had like the demo, and we played it, and we loved it, and we were like, when is this game coming out? And they're like, oh, well, we don't know. But I remember playing it with an Xbox controller, and I was like, man, this is gonna be great. I can't wait for it to land. And then when they announced it, it was exclusive or timed exclusive on PlayStation, which means Sony gave them money to put this game on their console, and it was launched on Vita and PlayStation 4. Or 3, PlayStation 3 actually. And yeah, man, like I remember my first playthrough was on Vita. Like I played on a handheld because I could sit in bed and just like really run through it, and the D-pad on the Vita.
Your elbows like lying down. It's some of those jump combinations.
Yeah. But the Vita had such a great D-pad on it that it just really felt responsive, the left, right, because you really have to hit those buttons and timing. And so that's great. This game is Metroidvania. It's part Metroidvania, part kind of fighting game, brawler. Culturally, it's very respectful of the Latino Mexican culture. Yeah. It's very respectful in the music. It's very respectful in just everything around. So it's not parodying or making fun of it in any way. Yes, there are fun moments in it, but it's not funny in the disrespectful way, which I loved as well.
It's laughing up, not laughing down.
Yes, laughing up, not laughing down. And again, when it finally got pushed out, they released the Super Turbo Championship Edition, which allowed a second player to come in. It gave you all these things that didn't have in the original edition. And when you got to play, you played it on Xbox, and this is the version I think you got to play.
I played the hell of it. I mean, I think I landed at 920 out of 1,000. I think I came back and did the Diablo stuff as well. The hardest part for me was they had like a super bonus level that you had to get the super duper ending, and to do sort of like, was like logs and blades in the clouds is what I remember. I'm getting them confused with part 2, which I also beat. And I just remember the satisfaction in making those like perfectly timed uppercut, dash, jump.
Yeah. So again, if you guys aren't familiar with the way the gameplay works, is the mechanics is there are attacks and there's movement, but the movement and the attacks blend together to get you places. So they could put a platform down here and then a platform way up here, and you don't have a double jump to make it up here, but you do have like an uppercut and an air dash, and then like
and then your normal jump. Like
you would have to double jump, turn into a chicken, and dash out of chicken, dash, jump, and then eventually you'd make it there. And then that satisfaction of getting there, that platform was so good and so well.
I'd be there at like 1:30 in the morning. I'd do this amazing jump, and I'd look around like, did anyone know what was that?
Yes. And what was great, the satisfaction was you'd fall or die in that game, you'd immediately pop back.
Yep.
So there was no like reload reload kind
It's
of
actually
thing.
one of my complaints about part 2 is that there was sort of long, like 12-minute, you have to be perfect for 3 or 4 minute sequences. And when you died, you went all the way back those 3 or 4 minutes. And I'm always like, I don't have time to do this over and over and over
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
Solid number 5.
What's your next pick?
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about it long, but number 5, Overwatch. I mean, I think when you
That's
talk
on
about
my list too.
Yeah, there you go.
So we'll
Well,
share that one.
Yeah, you think game of the decade, you think about a game that changed the scene, you think about a game that literally killed another game that had just come out.
That's funny that you're gonna make that your pick because that was my talk about that, is the fact that this game came out at a time where it was the end, not the end, but definitely the height of the MOBA shooter.
I didn't say it. Sakura, please. Yep. Battleborn.
There you go. You have to understand, Sakurai, Pedro and I and our buddy Jordan, we went to the Battleborn launch party.
At PAX. Oh my gosh.
Like, DJ, tons of money spent. Like, I mean, you could see they rented out a whole club, a whole VIP. They had
like 700 characters on it. What it
shirts,
seems like.
and we got pins, and we got free alcohol. I mean, it was open bar. I mean, it was nuts. I mean, a full DJ dancing, with system setup. It was
old for it, but it was great.
A lot of unsa music. It was hilarious and awesome. And we were like, oh man, this is gonna be awesome. It's another Gearbox game. It's gonna be the next Borderlands. That didn't happen.
A week later, Overwatch was at PAX too, right? It was like, was it at that
there? It was there, but it wasn't like.
I remember, was that no? It was the next year's patch they were giving out the pins, right? Is that
yeah? But the year before that, we saw Overwatch, and then it finally launched, and it was like the year before that was the one with the gold and the pins. So yeah.
So this game came out, and I mean, Overwatch crushed Battleborn, right? Yeah, again, Sakura, please. Like, everyone was like, "What's Battleborn?" And eventually, there was just millions of copies of Battleborn to be thrown. Like, it was the ET of its era.
Oh my god! Going into Five Below and walking the shelves, and they've got like some video games that might have got overprinted, but then Battleborn is there for $5. Like, it's almost like you want to pay them $5 to like.
And I don't. There's no other hero shooter until Apex Legends, right? This thing came out. Overwatch came out, and everyone was like, "Well, guess hero shooters are done." Like, there was basically no competition.
I mean, we had other ones. We had small ones, but they would literally come out and then die. What was that other one that they had? The one with it was another like Free Fall or something. It had kind of a Quake fast-paced one. I mean, there was just tons of different ones. A lot of other hero shooters.
Overwatch or Battleborn, yeah, they made Battleborn free to play.
They did make it free to play. They did make it free to play for a little bit.
Paladins
is still around, and that one, yeah, Paladins. But Paladins came out in response to Overwatch and was free to play. They were like, "Oh, here's a free to play Overwatch copy." I mean, it was legitimately like the frame copy.
It was the ripoff, the total ripoff one. Yeah. So yeah. So anyway, Overwatch is. I mean, I didn't enjoy it because it's a PvP game, and I'm not the biggest fan of PvP games. But it's still out there. It's still playing. My
so that's your number 5, right?
Number 5.
So that's my number 4. Overwatch is my number 4.
Like right behind each other.
yeah. So go ahead and give us the next one.
So my number 4 is Fortnite. So 5 and 4 are dominated by games that I enjoyed.
Fortnite
but
did not make my list.
Oh, look at that! It had to make my list. 2017 will go down as the summer of Fortnite, right?
Yeah,
or 2018 summer of Fortnite.
Yeah, 2018. Although we can claim a little cred.
We can save the world.
Geek cred, yeah. The cool factor, we bought Fortnite way before it was hype. Like, we bought it early. We bought it before the free to play.
I think it's still a beta, if we're honest. Like, let's be honest.
Beta. It was broken. Like,
Save the World is still at beta. Let's just be.
Save the World is Save the World even loaded? Yeah, is it an optional load now? Like, do you want this? Are you sure?
You do know it's not Battle Royale, right? Fortnite, I mean, like, it created stars on Twitch. It wasn't the best game or the most. Yeah, you got to give them credit. Exactly. And before it blew up vanilla, yeah, it's you got to give it credit. It changed the game. Everybody, I mean, even Tetris had to put out a battle royale, right? There was no way you can't not talk about Fortnite. We spent a year talking about Fortnite.
We did. We spent the entire
episodes talking about Fortnite.
Yeah, there wasn't an episode we couldn't talk about it because of that. Man, like Fortnite, like I didn't put it on this list because of that, because it was just so fresh. But at the same time, like you can't not talk about the 2010s without Fortnite. But it's so tail end, but it's setting that 2020 will be the year of Fortnite. 2021 will be the year of Fortnite still. The trend that Fortnite has created is still a monster. Yeah, it's not as popular now because there are other games out there that scratch that itch. But a good example, man, Star Wars. Star Wars freaking came out on Saturday, like with a big event. There was a live event, Star Wars event with like J.J. Abrams showing up in game. There was a Star Wars event in Fortnite at Rust.
Marvel does Thanos events. Yeah, Fortnite's changed.
Yeah, so Star Wars had a clip. J.J. Abrams showed up in like skin form. You know, like first it was a hologram, then he showed up, and then he dropped chests and then opened it up, and everyone had like lightsabers, and they were like playing lightsabers on Fortnite. I mean, like it was nuts. It was great. Like they showed, he had X-wings coming down, flying in. I mean, it was all a big event, and it was because Fortnite is so big that marketing wise, companies are like, hey, what's a good way to get kids to pay attention?
How do we talk to 12 to 19-year-olds?
Yeah, Fortnite. So they drop into Fortnite, which is genius.
Even the NFL has to do it.
And yeah, right. But we can say it's shilly. We can say that it's yuck. But obviously, first off, it's free to play. No one paid a dime to enjoy that Star Wars moment, unless they wanted to buy more skins. But some did, some didn't. My point is here's this game culturally that is like being used to bring people to the masses to go see Star Wars, which like Star Wars needs any help. But it's a game that just like is just story driven. Like, I mean, look at it. It's a game that had so many, like every other week there's a new story about Fortnite because they're able to stay relevant.
They made a great job of creating dynamic content to get people to stay relevant. Their skins, their dances, their nonsense. But with your roles, these whippersnappers and their newfangled economy, get off my lawn. So that was my number 4. What's your number? Well, now we're into top 3.
Yeah, top 3, man. Top 3. Okay. My next one on the list. And this is a
these are my favorite, most important games of top 3.
Yeah. So I'm actually going to put these in a specific order. So my next one is going to be Celeste.
Solid choice.
Celeste. It's my top 3. It was a game that I kept my eye on. I saw it at PAX. More of that like pixely, yes, indie art. I could see the small team that was developing it, based out of like Montreal. A great bunch of guys. I had talked to them years ago before they were like the thing, the big. We've talked. Our enjoyment at PAX has become go to that indie booth and we see that small little
hang out there every single day. Oh, yeah. Don't do it. I don't want it more crowded.
Yeah, but you see these guys, 2, 3 ladies, gentlemen, developers in general sitting there with their game, and they're just like couple pamphlets, a couple of things with a little black and white banner, Celeste or whatever, or the name of their studio. And you walk up to them and you're like, hey, show me your game. You're like, oh, and they're so excited to kind of pitch this game. And I remember picking it up and going, this is great. Like, look how quick it is. Look, I mean, just like the fast, the jumping, and it was like, ooh, very, very much like Guacamelee in that sense. Yeah. And
solid game.
Like again,
and a lot of replay value. You go up the hill, you come back down, you go up, you do B sides, you do C sides. I mean, Celeste is you look at it and you think, oh, that's Super Meat Boy, but it's not. It's a lot more to it than
a lot more to it. Music,
the best of the genre that I've played.
A great story, again, more of that touchy-feely story, but not overly in your face, but at the same time, good marketing. They have a whole Instagram page that's hilarious that the one of the characters has, and then you can actually follow it. And he posts, and he just put his final post up recently because it was like,
oh really?
Yeah. It's been great. That sort of thing. Yeah, man. Like just a solid game. My kids enjoy watching me playing it. I know R enjoys playing it too. What's great?
She probably enjoy watching me and putting it on easy mode. She loved playing it on. I should call it easy mode. Calling it what do they call it? Accessibility mode, right? Where you can change it so that you don't die and things like that. And then having me read her the story was something she absolutely enjoyed me doing. So yeah, and I enjoyed watching her enjoy it, which is
that's also great because it's another game that's very storybook like. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like, hey kid, let's it's right before bed. Come and sit down. We'll play this game. You can watch me play it, and it's like a storybook. As you're playing it, they're getting little bits and pieces of a story.
And it's a good story. So Celeste, good choice.
That's my number 3.
Number 3, I'm going to do this one quick because it's I guess it's not even controversial. Division, came out
the first one, right?
The first one, 2016, yeah, 2016, but it didn't get good until the end of 2017, right? Patch 1 point because they patched it enough that they got there 1.8.2.
Why? That's one of the things that we've talked about on this show. Developers, they've listened, they kept going, they didn't give up. They were like,
this is one of the first of the everlasting games that they kind of figured out what the formula was. It's a shame they forgot everything in time for Division 2, but they got there for Division 1, or maybe I just had too much of a good thing already. But for me, the multiplayer loot and the looter shooter style game,
the Destiny style game,
yeah. And they did their events, their global events that was brilliant. Their survival mode was brilliant. Their underground was brilliant. It takes place in the best city in the world,
Cincinnati.
You take that back, sir. No, it's New York City. It's fantastic. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. And what I liked most about it was that the goals in the game you could set for yourself and achieve them in week to week. Like I could sit down and play for 2 hours, say I'm going to get this item in 2 hours, and you can go and do it in 2 hours. Even if it was just like 0.2% better than what you already had, at least you had that achievement. I love it. Yeah, Cincinnati's a cool town, but it's not New York City, right? What do they have? Like 2 museums? 2 museums.
To see their life. You take that back, sir. It is a nice cinnamony bolognese on pasta. That's delicious. It's delicious at Skyline Chili.
So Division, short and sweet. Number 3, Division. We played it until Division 2 came out, right?
Yeah,
literally 3 years to play for us.
Talk about that one just a little bit, just to piggyback, because
where's my Whataburger?
Division was great. It's not on my list, but I definitely enjoyed playing it. I bought it when it first came out, and I disappeared on it. Like I enjoyed the single player and was like, this is good, but whatever. And I walked away, and then I came back, and I was like, hey, you guys, what are you guys playing? And they're like, oh, we've been playing Division. I'm like,
you bastard.
Really? Division? I'm like, oh yeah, you haven't heard? And I'm like, what do you mean? And sure enough, I started realizing that these developers were cranking out quality of life patches, cranking out new things in the dark zone, cranking out missions, changing gear, doing all this. Essentially what we're trying to get at is, this is a game that is a perfect example of a genre that really encompasses, again, the 2010s. Is the game that you bought is not the game you get when you play it now. Basically, It's a completely different game, like graphically, engine, patches, mechanics. I mean, you pop that game in and don't get online, whatever the heck you're playing is not what Division is by the end of it.
Trash.
Division. It's trash. And so, I mean, they gave an award out on the Game Awards that I streamed the other night, which was given to Siege. Tom, the Siege team. It's a game that came out 4 years ago now.
This weekend, and it's still fantastic.
Yeah, it's because they keep cranking out patches.
I'm going to buy my year 4 pass for it because it's so good, right? It's still a wonderful, enjoyable experience.
It's what I like about it as well. It's a game that the developers didn't go, you know what? We should just make a 2019 version of this game, a 2020 version of this game. Just reskin Call of Duty, a new one every year. Mm-hmm. I would be totally on top of Call of Duty. Been like, yeah, Call of Duty, good job, guys. If they had just released one 3 years ago and just gave me quality of life patches every year.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
but then they can't milk the $60 price tag. Come on. Like, everyone was talking about this new Call of Duty this year, but it's already been forgotten.
Interestingly, look at Anthem, right? It's a lightning in the bottle that's hard to capture, right? And Division 2 and Destiny 2, and these games are hard to figure out. And when they do, kaboom, they do great. So yeah, Division, number 3 for Cautious.
All right. My next one is I'm gonna make a banner for it because
it is your number 2.
This is my number 2. My number 2.
Also Whataburger. Maybe we'll do best fast food joints, and Joe will murder me because Whataburger will not be on the list.
He's never had it. He says he has, but he had it.
If it doesn't taste the same in Florida as it does in Houston, it is not a fast food chain. It is a trash franchise joint, and I will fight you on that.
You can say that. My number 2.
And
Sakurai will like this pick. Splatoon.
Solid choice.
Man, this game. This is one of those games that, again, good story. A lot of these games really like feel so good because packs. There a lot of these attachments are because of packs. And Tim's trash. I'm gonna ban him. We can ban that now. We can
I cannot. I only played it at your place like every so often and had a blast.
So let me tell my little story about Splatoon. So Splatoon was about to come out, right? This game had been announced, and PAX East was coming. So this game was coming out. I think if I remember correctly, the release date was right before the summer. But PAX East was in March or late early March that year. And Nintendo had a booth there, and
one of the few times they had a big booth.
Yeah, one of the few times they had a big booth, and they showed up, and this was the game, and everyone was like, "What is this game, Splatoon?" And I remember getting in line to play it.
The walls,
and I played it, and it just like, and so what happened is that first gameplay of people touching and playing this game got online, like. Kotaku, IGN were at the show and we're like, guys, we've played Splatoon. You have to do it. The next day, that Saturday, you never got to play the booth again. It was like a 3-hour wait for this game that it was on no one's radar.
Yeah.
On no one's radar. This game came out.
Is there a part 2 coming out soon?
Oh, it's out. It's been out. And that's where I'm talking. This game encompasses and gives me a little love for the Wii U. The system that was on a list that I read today of worst pieces of technology failures of the 2010.
It was a pre-Switch.
But it's a system that doesn't get the love that it deserves. We have talked about it. You have played it. You played it at my place. And we talk about how the potential was there. It just wasn't.
No one had the imagination.
Developers were given the tools and no one did it. We talk about that asymmetrical couch co-op that you would have been just so good. I mean, so good. And we don't get it.
Still mad about the Wii U's failures.
But the Splatoon, here we had a third-person multiplayer shooter on the Switch. Nintendo made. And everyone was like, really? Like Nintendo, a shooter? Really? Competitive? Is it going to be any good? It just destroyed anything that came out. Like free patches, free maps, events, just redefined the genre.
Typical Nintendo style, right?
Typical Nintendo style. Just like the music was on point, the characters were on point, the art, the love, the community. I mean, it just blew up. Now it's one of the top franchises for Nintendo from a game that no one saw on the radar.
Yeah. And they gave us some nice squid pins, right?
I've got the original squid pins. Yeah.
The fabled the Virtual Boy.
Oh man,
it's like the Virtual Boy's kid. You could draw a direct line from the Virtual Boy to the
totally can.
Right there.
All right, what's your number 2?
Number 2 again. And, we're running out of time. I know. Number 2, and I'm gonna throw it up there if I can remember how to do it. I feel like this should come as no surprise for anyone who knows me. It is Fallout 4.
Good choice.
It was a tough choice between Skyrim or Fallout 4 from a single player perspective. Fallout 4 2015 was just an absolute joy to play. Once I rocked it, right? Once I figured out,
game, I absolutely hated it.
I know you hated it. I loved it. I thought it was the story was fantastic. I played through every single timeline you could possibly play through, and I'm putting up the Nuka World DLC because it was, I think, one of the most fun DLCs I've ever played. Working for the bandits in Nuka World and doing just crazy stuff and enjoying sort of a Disney parody within the Fallout 4 universe, which is a parody of the 1950s universe, right? So there's a lot of levels here. It's got world building. It's got property building. You can draw a line from this to Fallout 76 communities, right? Fallout 4, number 2 game of the decade for me. I mean, when you talk about 1,200 hours, I probably put up that many hours in this game, right?
Wow. Yeah.
It was great.
I had a tough time with that game just because I wanted to love it. Like the play style was great, but the building had me.
You were like, how do I connect the goddamn light bulb?
It just made no sense to me. It was so nuts.
Don't do it. Just don't bother. Play something else.
Yeah,
go kill some radios.
That's what I did. All right. My number 1 pick, right? That's where we're at. We're at number 1. And this should come at no surprise to anybody at all. and that is. I'm just going to abbreviate it because everyone's going to know. Everyone's going to freaking know. Where'd it go?
It is Death Stranding. Just came out. Yeah.
Breath of the Wild, man.
I read a lot of top 10 lists. I'm surprised at how few lists have this in their top 5.
Because anybody that doesn't have it in their top 5 is considered trash.
It's not in mine, but I didn't play it. So
you didn't play it, but now you will
because Nintendo. No, I don't.
you now have a Switch.
I do have a Switch, but I will never buy it to spite you. So.
Oh no, it's
What can I say? Yeah, you got the shirt.
So this is my all-time favorite game.
You 3D printed the sword.
This is my all-time favorite game. Link to the Past is my all-time favorite game.
Mm-hmm.
Period. End of discussion there. Breath of the Wild brought that back to me, like that love for Zelda. This past weekend, I've been trying to play through a Skyward Sword, one of the most hated of the Zeldas, just because the control scheme was the Wii. It was like his sword swinging was all about like if you swing up and down, he swings up and down. So certain enemies always blocked this way. So you always have to kind of do this, but the controller was unresponsive. So you have to
Dark Souls with the Wii combination.
Oh God. And I'm trying to love it. And that was the last one we got, the Wii, for the Wii. We didn't get one on the Wii U. We got some remasters. We got some Twilight Princess remaster or HD. We got some Wind Waker HD on the Wii U. But for the Wii U, at the tail end of the Wii U, and the launch game for the Switch was Breath of the Wild. And I can't gush enough about this game. It just took everything back to square one.
No, you disappeared for like 3 days to play it. It was
3 days. I mean, I think if I pull up my counter, just like Sakurai over here talked about how he's got 150 hours in the couple weeks, that I think I've got about 300 plus hours on Breath of the Wild. Spending
all that time cooking.
So much cooking. I mean, finding recipes, putting things together to make certain food for armor, for like heat resistance, for that kind of stuff. The controversial thing that everyone hated in the game of like the weapons having durability, where you pick up this awesome sword and then you like crash and it'll explode in pieces and you're like, what happened? My fire sword. I liked that mechanic. It made it so that you had to like resource manage, be specific.
Otherwise you just get the best sword ever and go for it, right?
Yeah, having a heat sword, putting it on your back, but not using it because it produced heat, which allowed you to stay warm, which allowed you to walk into snowy areas and stay like that sort of thing. Attention to detail was so good that it blew everything away in the open world aspect.
So Breath of the Wild.
It is. I can't. Everyone's already done it for me. All I can say is that to me was my number one game for this decade.
There you go. That's crazy. That's good. So my number one game of this decade, and I'm going to put it up because I want to end the show on it. Right there, it goes right there. 2010. Like this decade started with this game. This decade is ending with this game, which is the 10-year life of Minecraft is ridiculous. It went up, it went down. It's now on every system in the universe. I mean,
crossplay now.
Crossplay. I mean, this is one of the first games that kind of demanded crossplay, right? I mean, how could it not be crossplay? Creative mode on the iPad and I'm playing it with my kid.
Dedicated to it. Watch it for hours on end. It's the most streamed game on YouTube.
I didn't mention this for Fallout 4. I'm going to mention it here. You could download mods for your Xbox game on the Minecraft, right? Something that usually was in the purview of PC gamers only. It's now on your Xbox. Same thing with Fallout 4, right? We wouldn't have that on Fallout 4 without Minecraft getting it. I love this game. I still love it. GTA 5 I didn't put on there because I put Red Dead Redemption. I didn't want to give Rockstar 2 slots. That's crazy.
I didn't put GTA 5 on it because
of like the 10-minute torture sequence in the middle rolls. I didn't have the stomach for it.
Yeah, so now I'm not taking it away from Minecraft. I want to keep talking about Minecraft, but I will tell you why it didn't make my list, and I just want to address that. I don't like the direction Rockstar went with GTA 5 anymore.
Man, taking his fist. I didn't want to play yoga in my game.
I was tired. I'm tired of the seriousness, right? I miss the quirky fun Rockstar where
that's fair.
where you had some comedic aspect to it, and yes, there are some funny things, but they're funny cruel in GTA 5, not funny. I don't know. GTA 3, Vice City, the radio stations, that sort of thing was funny.
Kind of made fun of its era while GTA 5 didn't. I get it.
GTA 5 really just like, I've talked about this before as well, where they didn't give me more story. They just said, let's make money and sell shark cards and do the online aspect.
I wanted to play, man. But yeah, yes. I also make money, which Rockstar loves to do, and they make you hand over fist so that they can pay for ports on all their systems because they only release one game every 5 years.
Right.
I apologize for Grand Theft Auto 5. Great game. I actually 100%ed it.
So this is a quick one, real quick. I've got an honorable mention, and then I'm going to pick my game of the year for this year.
For this year, okay.
So my honorable mention, which for all around the decade, that should have made the list but didn't. But there's a reason it didn't. But I wanted the theme for the 2010s was because 2010 and onward we released the Xbox One and the PS4. It became the systems, the next gen systems of the remaster.
Mm-hmm.
The remaster games that we had just played the previous generation, getting remastered. Tomb Raider, The Last of Us, games that came out at the tail end were like, hey, we now have more horsepower. Grand Theft Auto 5 was re-released on Xbox One because they run better. Because we knew they were coming, but they didn't
mention. Man, just say it. What is it?
DuckTales.
Oh my gosh!
Remaster. Capcom nailed it. It was a game that was remastered from an NES game.
Every bit as frustrating as I remember it.
It's not as frustrating. They brought back the original voice actors. They brought good music, good sprite work. Just a fantastic remaster that is now doesn't exist. It's amazing. You can't even buy the digital copy anymore because they lost the rights to it.
I've got a lot of honorable mentions. Evolve, cooperative, multiplayer, asymmetrical games, PvP games. I thought Evolve was sort of underappreciated. They made a mistake in the way they released the DLC. I thought Titanfall 1 and 2 was going to change the way we played first-person competitive shooters, but unfortunately it just didn't stick. And then my hot take of the decade is Mass Effect 3. Right? I think Mass Effect 3... I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I didn't expect any more or less from them. I think Mass Effect 3 was a sort of first game where you really the dirty undercore of gamers of this decade was kind of revealed. The nastiness towards developers was kind of thrown out there with Mass Effect 3 and feeling like they owned this property and they should have gotten what they wanted.
Sounds like a movie that's coming out in the next few days.
What's coming out in there? Oh, Star Wars? Is that what are we talking about?
The fan base sounds very familiar. Like they own the property.
So anyway, I actually love it. I would love it if they released the remastered Mass Effect series.
I'm looking for it.
I don't know why it hasn't yet. But it didn't make my top 10 of the decade because Mass Effect 2 was in 2010, right on the edge, and it's hard to say Mass Effect 2 without saying.
What was your game of the year for this year?
Game of the year for this year, man. I feel like I played so many disappointing games this year. Celeste came out.
We have to talk about it came out last year, but let's talk about since you've got the Game Pass. The Game Pass was your new acquisition, and it kind of redefined how you were consuming games this year.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it's hard to pick one because you played so many games that you probably never would have played. But what would you say is the game that like you probably dumped the most time in, and your choice for this year?
I don't, the one that pops right into my head is Bad North. It was a very simple real-time strategy game involving Vikings. You had to defend your islands from Vikings. And it was fast and easy. Each map was sort of fast and easy, but it was really satisfying. Like I consumed it 100% of it, downloaded it in a week, consumed it in 2 weeks, got rid of it. It was just
you liked it. You loved it.
I loved it. I thought it was great. Bad North was a fantastic game.
Rolls just nailed it for you, man. That's it. Thank you.
I haven't played it yet on the Xbox.
It came out today.
I know. I haven't done
able to play it, but that is my game of the year. I so many good games came out. Borderlands.
Choice picking a game that only came out in the last 2 months for game of the year.
What came out in September, buddy, brother? Came out in September. Switch had it for a while. No, man. Like the game of the year to me was Untitled Goose Game, and it had to be because A, it was completely fresh.
Mm-hmm.
B, it was so fun and funny. Like there was just no high stakes. I could pick up my Switch and go, hey, where am I at? Oh yeah, I'm a fucking goose. Let me do what I gotta do. I don't need to worry. And it just allowed me to kind of enjoy it. My kids enjoyed it, the mischief.
Outer Worlds. How can I keep forgetting this game? Outer Worlds. That's
Outer Worlds.
The Game Pass Fallout game of the year for me.
All right. So your game of the year is going to be
Outer Worlds.
Outer Worlds.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Not Outer Limits, Outer Worlds. I get them confused.
Outer Wilds.
Not Outer Wilds, which was also great, but Outer Worlds. Yep.
The Outer Worlds, which is again made by the original developers of Fallout, which is why you love it.
Yeah.
Because it feels like Fallout, and it's
got the sense of humor that you were asking for from Grand Theft Auto folks.
That's what I want. So that's a game that I'll be picking up and playing soon. Now that moving on to the next year, there's a couple new games that I'm going to pick up. But yeah, man, that's a list. That's a heck of a list.
Heck of a 10 years. We're looking forward to the next 10 years. Thank you, friends of the show. Like us, follow us, subscribe, post on Facebook, tweet us. I love chatting during the day.
Hop on, tell us what your games. Make a list yourself. Tell us. We'll be back next week.
Post it up
right before the Christmas holidays for sure.
And it's like Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, right? That's a rough schedule.
Is Christmas Eve? That's
7 days from today.
Yeah, so I guess we won't be here till next week because 24th is my birthday. The wife has something planned, so yeah, you're right. We're not going to be here for next week.
And then the 31st, we might not be here for next year either because the 31st is.
So this might be the last show. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll hop on and do something. We'll see.
We'll try to make something happen on a different day because you're going to miss us. You're going to miss us. Guys,
thanks for joining us. It was fun kind of going down memory lane of the past 10 years with everybody.
Solid.
Guys, like, subscribe, share. Music is from here to 4. Please like,
gals, we're better than that.
Guys and gals. I gotta get better.
Yeah, be kind, everyone. Thank you.
Love you guys.
Happy holidays, Rolls. Thanks a lot.
Mwah.